How do's? Yeah, it's Lee here. How you doing? On 19th September, my birthday. They call it International Talk Like a Pirate's Day today. And yeah, my hearties. How you doing? Arr, my hearties. Right, on this day, I'm going to talk about this tonight. And also, it's all called on this day. It's called on the personology. What's it saying? The day of final appearance. Thank you very much. I share the same day as Twiggy. You know, I'm skinny like her, I know, but I'm cut and fit. Anyway, yeah. How you doing? And as I was saying, this is all about: is this it? Right? Is this it? Is this it? So we're born in this time and this circumstance, and here we are in this world, and it's just basically we're under an automation. And it's basically got 4 things and 5 things over us. One of it is basically voting to a general election of a fascist democracy, which is just a deceitful fascism, right? It's really basically 2 sides of the same coin, because it's monetary. So it's deceitful. Democracy equals monetary, which is fascist, deceitful dictatorship. And this is what we've got to try and understand between ourselves and fight them, right? And this is one of the things they do against us. The other one is basically, as I say, it's not just as monetary, it's also saying warring order, and it's also, this is another problem that we've got to change. And the other thing that we have here in our times that they make is illegal. This is another thing they've got going on, which is basically goes with the monetary, right? And this is another problem that we've got here. These things are our factors, our problems of our times. And this is it. This is what we've got to live under for the rest of our life. I'm working under another point of this, which is that you work for 48 weeks and you basically got a 0-hour contract. You know, so you're working 48 weeks for a 4-week holiday, you get a 0-hour contract. This is pretty much our time of what it is for us. This is it for us. This is our lot according to the system that we're in automatively. Not that we agree in of this world, or this automation of this world's order, a deceptive system. We need to basically get out of it. And the only way we can get out of this deceptive system is to check all these 4 points, you see. And if we do this, this is the only way we're ever going to beat this system in our times and circumstance that we're in. So, you know, there's 4 steps to this. So 1, don't vote against a general election, regardless of what country you're in. Right? Step 2, become neutral from the warring order of a country that you're also in. Step 3, become non-monetary, right? And then basically you clear all debts and consolidate all housing into the first estate. And then step 4, we use a work smart timeshare template using 3913 and the 44.473 templates. These 2 templates will counter basically the 4840-hour contracts that are in now. By doing all these 4 things, they will change our systems so completely how things to be. And then you've got another level of basically making all drugs decriminalised and basically re-lawfulized into society, just like Portugal do at the moment, and having better results of doing it. And we do that with just removing money as well, you see, and to continue to allow all these administrative class levels of drugs, whatever class they are, to the administration that should be put through professionally, basically run through with more rehabilitation centres, 24 hours and rehabilitation centres, and also long term, and have more of them. There's people that are gagging to basically help out in doing this, you know, and it's only the lack of vicinity and funds of this world is not allowing these things of reality, or basically filtering through the reality of living in the world of flora, of drugs, that the earth is, and part of our teaching and learning. And so we need to get more civilised on that tip. But so saying we've got these 5 major moves are what we need to really do. There's a 4-step plan, and plus the 5th one. By removing the drugs, you know, you stop all warfare anyway, because you run it between each other as people in the proper administration of distribution to how it needs to be put out to all the individuals in their cases. And by doing this, it will work it out for one another, you know, and it stops all the street wars instantly, and stops all the knife and weapon warfare going on, because there's no gangs, there's no money, so there's no drugs to be selling to make money, so there's none of this going on. So it counters out, just as the saying, step 3, when you say you remove money, you remove the 5 iron seats of Kali, which are under this government, which keeps us in the age of Carly. So to do that, we remove these 5 iron seats, what basically being money. You remove money, then you remove prostitution, you remove gambling, you remove basically slaughtering all these industries, and big pharma with slaughter goes in as well. So like, you know, you buy that's false intoxications. It's big pharma. So these 5 iron seats, you know, you remove them by money, gambling, prostitution, gambling. I've said gambling. As I was saying, intoxication, which is big pharma, and slaughter in this industry. So you do all these things, it will sort it all out. Excuse me a minute, speaker just went down. But yeah, if we don't do these things, then we are just in what I'm saying. Is this it? And if we're humans, we're bright, and that's why being led by a few people in the corporation, and basically we are more people that actually running the ship. Ahoy my hearties, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are the fucking people that run the ships of all fucking industries, the workers, the people that actually make things move, whether that's in the clerical department to the actual manual labour, is all manual labour. But where it really matters in the point of actually service, well, this is always what we should be getting into, not a world of business but a world of service, and getting back into service, and that's what it's all about, back to services against a karmic system we're in now. By checking these things, as I say, by doing these things, this will actually counter out everything that needs to be done in our times as people, you know what I mean? And I'm just saying this, you know, as an independent thinker of one of the 15 million people that don't vote in this country, in the UK. There's a lot of us across the world that ain't voting, but there's not enough of us in one country to stop us from voting. Do you see what I mean? In our time, and this is our problem. I find as an independent thinker, so to get the step 1 moving to basically not voting, you need more people. Like, you know, you need, like in this country probably, like to make 51%, you need about another 8 million people. But you know, this is where we're at in our times, in our politics of systems that we're under. So to counteract lawfully, this is how we beat them, and we beat them by not basically voting into them. And if we all done this, you know, and got more people to do it, we would beat them. But the thing is, you've got to try and remember, I mean, even though it says 51%, no one actually knows the inner politics of political systems of what we're in now. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is a question I'll put out to people. How far can you take this? I mean, do you actually need another, like, you know, 8 million people to make 51%? I mean, with 15 million people right now beating, like, you know, 12.5 million people, 13 million people, or first to the post being Conservative in last election. So I mean, why are we under them? And right now we're 50 million on vote. I mean, okay, we've all got to step 1 realisation, don't vote. And you know, and I'm just one independent thing of putting its focus point of where we're going as a drive, why we're not voting, and this is where I'm coming from with it all. I'm quite seasoned in thinking, and realise that basically by taking them out, by not voting, is the only thing you've got. But I mean, we don't know their inner politics, as I was saying. You know, we don't know. Does it then take another 500,000 by us by rule, or another 1.5 million, 2 million, if we called an early referendum within the 4 or 5 years that we've got to live within monetary because of the general election to general election, which is 4 or 5 years, and they're cutting it even shorter now because of referendums, cutting it left, right and centre, although only 2-3 years. But I mean, in that sense, could we call a referendum and beat them? You know, I mean, I'm not a politician, I'm just a layman thinker, and I'm not about politics, I'm anti-politics so much. I don't believe we need politics. I think we just need each other to work things out between each other in industries that are already up and running anyway, and just condense what we need here and don't need here. No one loses out in the free world, because I said step 3, become non-monetary. So when you change things, everything gets better. Do you know what I mean? You know, in the transitions of change, or when things need to be closed down because no one's answering to money anymore because it's non-monetary. So this is the only way we can do it. But to get there, to have to get to step 1 by not voting. But I mean, as I said, to take every 4 or 5 years, you know, so-called in their general election, or can we cut it shorter? But then is that a case of we need, what, 8 more million people to make it 51% as a beating them, or do we only need, like, how many more, 500,000, million, I don't know, 100,000 or 2, I don't even know, do you know what I mean? No one's got to this point of question or thought, and I mean, who knows in the inner rooms, only those, you know, of House of Lords and above, you know, and all the rest of them, and insiders as politicians, and may even know this question. They do know it. I mean, some will, obviously, but I mean, we've never called it out to a point of actually trying to call it to that level. And this is where I'm putting this all down to, as a layman, independent thinker, about how we fight this system realistically in our times and circumstance we find ourselves in. And as I say, this is it for us. Is this all we got? I mean, you know, when we get down to it, this is how we got to try and look at this system and think, how are we going to beat them? You know, realistically, lawfully, rebelliously, as householders, independent thinkers, all registered. You know, that is our subtle intelligence of beating them. To understand that the party is not to make a party, but to make it just from our own household, as simple as that, and not vote them in, and pull away, and stop feeding our votes into the system. If we all done that, you know, and basically call the same vision of way, which counteracts them, which I've just said the 4 points is a good starting point, 5 points as the same, to start the ball rolling as a foundational change. This is maybe something to start, you know, chewing the fat about, because we all need a focus point. It's all up in the air politics, rather than actually condensing down what I've put down here to basically focus on these main 5 points to make us look what we need to do. Like, you know, it's quite, you know, in depth, but at the same time I've tried to make it so it's very condensed and simple, so every one of us can understand what really needs to be done in a layman point, you know, as a layman man myself. So it's just trying to get down to this, and remember, it's just these 5 little points to stop. Don't vote, become neutral, become non-monetary, clearing all debts, making all housing, put it all into the first estate, enable the work smart template, 3913 and 44473, and re-lawfulise all drugs and administrate them correctly with more 24-hour dry out and long-term dry out stations for people to go to when needed.